We've got a very musical Entre Nous for you today ahead of the Jazz Festival at the Chatêlet Theatre in Paris. That's starting next week. The closing act of Le Chatêlet fait son jazz is British bandleader, musician, and television presenter extraordinaire Jools Holland. For the past 30 years, the former keyboardist for British rock band Squeeze has not only worked with everyone from Sting to Amy Winehouse to Rod Stewart. He's also the longtime presenter of some of the most popular music shows in the UK. Jools Holland will be playing with his Rhythm Blues Orchestra February 10th in Paris. We'll be talking to him live in London in just a moment. But first, here he is with his band playing Tuxedo Junction. Jools Holland with his Rhythm Blues Orchestra, and Jools joins me now live from London. Welcome, Jools. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us on France 24.
Thank you for talking to me. I'm delighted to be here.
So, Jools, I have to say there were a lot of very excited Brits in the newsroom when I said we were going to have you on the show. They're very happy you're coming to play in Paris. What's it like for you coming to play here in France? Our French audience is different.
Well, we've had a fantastic couple of shows this summer. We did the Marciac Jazz Festival, which was really great. And we also did the one just outside Lyon. And it was just, the atmosphere was incredible. In fact, I have to give credit to everybody because the one just outside Lyon, there was a thunderstorm. And the storm was so bad that the audience stayed. And then the rain was like biblical rain. There were sort of hailstones this big hitting people. And they stayed and they tried to dance. And in the end, it was just impossible. And the promoters quite rightly came on and said, it's too dangerous. You've got to stop now. And they came running on with these big blankets. And I thought, oh, they've come to cover me up and some of the singers up. But in fact, they threw the blankets straight over the lovely Steinway piano to make sure that it wasn't going to be damaged.
Protect the piano first. Protect the piano first.
Exactly, yeah. So we've been playing there a couple of times. And I have to say, I think there's, France has a great history of loving jazz music and producing great musicians and artists. In fact, my first ever performance, I think, in a club, my father took me on a little trip to Paris. He used to love going to Paris. And I went for the first time abroad ever when I was 14 and went into this jazz club in a cellar, which is still there, I think. And I played, and the piano player, when I was playing, my father said to him, do you think my son's got a future in music? And the piano player said to him, yes, I think he has. And my father took that on board and encouraged me, but he didn't tell me that for another sort of 40 years or something. So, yeah, that moment in Paris probably spurred me on to where I am today. So I'm really looking forward to coming, and I'm going to make the most of my trip and obviously to acclimatise myself and get over the jet lag and everything like that. I'm going to come out 3 or 4 days earlier.
Well, happy to know that Paris had some small part in your career, Jools. Obviously, you're very well known in the UK for hosting music shows where not only the biggest artists in the world come on, but where you really talk to them, musician to musician without alienating the audience. Is it hard to strike that balance between TV presenter and musician?
Well, I've been very, very lucky because my show, I love music and I plug into music in lots of different ways. And it doesn't really matter, if you're playing music, if you're listening to music, if I'm playing music here at home or I'm in the studio or I'm on stage in Paris or listening to other people playing it on my show or talking about it, you're just plugging into the same magic, which is music. So I'm pleased that the show stayed on so long and has now built up this enormous archive. And sometimes I am the servant of the song, I'll accompany whoever it is there, and other times I'll sit and listen, So I've been very fortunate to be so close to such great music, It's been a fantastic world. And so on the presenting music on the television is pretty much the same as it's just another part of music for me.
And you always have such great vocalists in your shows. One of them is Ruby Turner, who'll be with you at your show in Paris. We're going to take a quick look at the two of you on stage with your orchestra at a previous concert, and then we're going to talk about some of your other collaborations in just a minute. This is Roll Out the Hole.
When the sun goes down, I just can't stop. I roll it out of this hole like I'm ready to run. When the sun goes
Ruby Turner with Jools Holland and the Rhythm and Blues Orchestra performing in Paris February 10th. Jools, you have worked with so many big artists over the years. I mean, I imagine there are so many memories. Is there one in particular that stands out for you?
I think, I mean, it would be like trying to pick my favourite child of my children, because there's so many. I've been so fortunate in playing with people and being close up working with them. I think it's really when you work with people who are who you've grown up really admiring, when something happens with them, it's really great. And so, you know, I think there have been fantastic moments like that, like with B.B. King or stuff. But really, with Ruby there is one of my favourite moments, because on stage, she lifts me up. And what you see happening there is the sort of thing you'd see on stage, because it's, you know, we're sort of from the blues and ska and gospel end of jazz music, and that's which has a lot of power and a lot of punch. So I think Ruby's one of the people that embodies that, really, you know, where it's very full on, as you can hear from what we're doing, you know. And I'm one of the only people that has a big band left anymore that plays sort of big band blues swing, you know, and ska and everything. So I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to coming over. Of course, you saw a picture of me and Rod. Rod and I just did a record, Rod Stewart, which was fantastic for me, because he loves that same great swing music, you know. And I think actually France is a place where you hear that swing music. They're swing people, you know. It's kind of that music still lives.
So what's the biggest difference between working with a superstar like Rod Stewart in the studio and working with an orchestra on stage? I mean, is there a preference? Are there positives and negatives of each?
Well, I think the thing that I've realised is that when you know, I've sat down with, say, as an example, I once worked with Gladys Knight, and I'd grown up listening to her, and Paul McCartney is another example. Paul McCartney, I'd grown up listening to his music, and he's become a friend now. But when I first sat down with him, and he said, "I want you to play a bit," I was very nervous. But as soon as you begin the music, you both, doesn't matter how big or famous the person is, you're both being the servant of the music and a servant of the song. So long as that happens, once that happens, you forget about who you're playing with. Once the piece of music is finished, and you have to pinch yourself because you think, I can't believe I'm sitting next to Paul McCartney or Gladys Knight or somebody.
I'm sure you've been pinching yourself a lot over the past 30 years. You're also, of course, famous for hosting the big televised New Year's Eve celebration in the UK, something you've been doing for decades. What's your favorite thing about doing that show?
Well, I suppose the great thing is people do let their hair down, and you get people doing things that they wouldn't normally have seen. And they'll come in with my orchestra. And as an example, I suppose a good example of that would be Amy Winehouse. And she loved Sarah Vaughan and Diana Washington and singers like that. So she came on a couple of times and would sing those songs. And because so we then had them sort of captured, which she wouldn't have done on any other occasion. It's just because it's the big band, it's New Year's Eve. She can sing what she wants. It's just a bit of fun. Those songs now, of course, she put them on one of her records because, you know, she loved how they sounded. And so it's a great way of capturing things that you wouldn't capture otherwise, because they're done in the spirit of joy and love, you know. And then you nowadays they're recorded perfectly, so you can keep them. So I think that's one of my favourite bits about the show, that the fact that everybody's relaxed and doing things they wouldn't normally do. We had Roger Taylor from Queen on our show this year, and he really wanted to do Little Richard's Tutti Frutti, which was what a great choice. So it all got us really frenzied, and great to hear. Gets your boogie muscles.
Well, it's all amazing, Jools. And here in France, we're allowed to say Happy New Year until the last day of January. So Happy New Year to you. Looking forward to
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Of course, you and your Rhythm and Blues Orchestra will be in concert February 10th at the Chatêlet Theatre in Paris. And we're actually going to go out now with a little clip that you posted ahead of the show with your band playing that famous French song, La Vie en Rose. Thanks so much, Jools.
Oh, my pleasure. C'est bon. Thank you for your chatting. Paris is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I love Paris, and I'm so excited because we are going to come and be playing at the Jazz Festival in February. Please join us.